Problem 20. Let B be a right rectangular prism with lengths 1, 3, and 4. So this is a prism 1, 3, and 4. R is larger than 0. S of R is the set of points that are within R units from B. B is the total volume of the prism. So this volume can be expressed in the following expression where A, B, C, D are positive integers, or real numbers, not integers. What is BC over AD? So BC over AD, that's just a coefficient. So first of all, let's solve for each term. Let's first digest what it means to be 3 units away from a line. Well, this is 3, 3, 3, 3, and then this is 3, that's 3. So you can imagine if I do it in red, the boundary would be right here, right? That's going to be the boundary. It's going to look like this, right? So that's the two-dimensional interpretation, but three-dimensional shapes are comprised of lines, which are two-dimensional. So let's apply this knowledge into this question. Let's first start with the most easiest volume, which is D. D has to be within 3 units. So one of them is going to be the very volume of this entire thing, because this is always going to be within 0 units of this prism. So this is going to be a valid region of space that would satisfy the conditions, which is 1 times 3 times 4, which is equal to 12. Right? That's the volume, but that is equal to a constant, and D is a constant. So that means D is equal to 12. Now let's consider the next case, right? We're going to copy paste this shape down right here. Now let's consider the next part, which is CR. Well, C times R, right, is going to be reminiscent of this shape. It's going to be reminiscent of that's 3, that's 3, that's 3. Not 3, that's going to be R, sorry. That's going to be, this is going to be R, 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 R. And if we draw out the prism, this volume, right, is going to be within R units of this prism, right? So what is the volume of this upper prism? Well, that volume is going to be R times the base area. Well, this is 1, 3, 4, so that's going to be 1 times 4. Now, how many of these do we have? Well, we have an exact same one at the bottom. So we multiply this by 2. Now let's consider the next volume, which I'll do this in green. This volume, as you can see, is going to be R and R. So that volume is going to be R times the base area of 3 times 4. But we have another one right here that's the exact same thing. So therefore, that's times 2. And then we can obviously, by deductive reasoning, that the third one is going to be R times the other combination, which is going to be 1 times 4. So it's going to be 1 times 3 times 2 to account for this outer facing volume right here. So, and then we have another one in the back. So sum these together, what do you get? We get this is equal to 8. That's 8. And then that is equal to 24, right? And then this is going to be equal to 6. So that's equal to 38. So that's equal to 38R. And 38R, right, that corresponds with CR. So that means we know from here C is equal to 38. Now let's consider with the next one, which is we are going to consider a cylinder. And what I mean by a cylinder is, if I draw it in green, the cylinder is going to look like this. After I draw out this shape, right, this line, you can imagine that I have this shape right here. You see that? That's a cylinder. But what portion of the cylinder does that comprise? Well, I have an exact same cylinder right here, right here, right, like that. And I also have, oh, sorry, that's not go that way. It should go this way, right? This could go that way, outside. And then we have exact same cylinder right here, exact same cylinder right here. Right, as you can see by this drawing. So if we combine them together, we create one full cylinder. And what is the volume of one full cylinder? That's pi r squared h. So what is the radius of this line? Well, that's r. So v is equal to pi times r squared times the height. Well, the height is just this length right here, which we know is equal to 4 times 4. Now we see where this is going, right? If this applies for the height of 4, then again, by deductive reasoning, there must be a volume that applies to the other lengths as well, which is going to be 1, and v is also equal to pi r squared times the other side length of 3. So sum them together, what do you get? You get 4 plus 1 plus 3 is equal to 8. So combine them, that's equal to 8 pi r squared. So 8 pi, in other words, correspond to b. So that means b is equal to 8 pi. And we are so close to the finish line, we have just one more shape to consider. And this shape is going to be the Humble sphere. And what I mean by this is, if I copy paste it one more time, I'm going to draw myself the exact same cylinders. The cylinders that I previously drawn were right here, right? But remember, this is three-dimensional. So we have these three lines, x, y, z, right? This is a cylinder, that is a cylinder, that is a cylinder. You see that corner piece right there? That corner piece is going to constitute 1/8 of a sphere, and you can imagine that. Try to piece it all together, right? That looks like this. I need one more bottom shape right here to complete 1/4, and then on the bottom right here, I need that to create the next half, and then right here one. Then there's going to be one there, right there, right there. So imagine it like this, right? Just draw it out for yourself. There's one right there, right? There is one that looks like that, one like that, and then one here, one here, one here, one here. If you sum all these together, that is all 1/8 of one sphere. So 1/8 times 8 gives one total sphere. So what is the volume of one total sphere? Well, that's 4/3 pi r cubed. And the radius of this sphere is obviously r, because it has to be within r units of the volume. So that means this corresponds 4/3 times pi corresponds to 8. So now we have all the components we need to solve the question, because we are trying to solve for BC times AD. BC times AD, or divided by AD, is going to be equal to 4/3 pi times d. So basically, to solve this question, right, just to conclude everything, that's just going to be stay organized. That's really the advice that I'm going to give to everyone. So we have this, right, we have pi and pi to get canceled, which is the same thing as 38 times 8 times 3 over 12 times 4, right? So what is that equal to? Well, the 4 and 8 gets eliminated into 2. 2 and 12 gets into 6, right? 3 and 6 gets factored out into a 2, so it's 1/2 now. 1/2 times 38, well, that's equal to 19, right? So 19 is our final answer, which is 19, so your final answer would be answer choice B.